Good morning. It's almost the new year. I've been thinking a lot about New Year's resolutions. I feel like any time is a good time to try to, like, excuse me, set good positive goals into place and do them. But for some reason, I'm real big on this whole universal consciousness, and I feel like there's going to be so many people that are going to be setting these new goals with this new good energy vibration that right now is a good time to set some new goals and try to stick to them. um I've been thinking a lot about like, well, I always try to think on gratitude, especially when I'm struggling with anything like life or whatever. But also, I've been thinking a lot about space, like taking the time to really be able to step back from situations and, take the time to reflect on those situations and just be in a space with just yourself. And this is something that I've been practicing and working on. And it it's been pretty prevalent lately on like me making sure to um give myself space, because I'm now that I am, you know, being more comfortable and confident with going around certain people or being in certain environments. I've noticed that it's also brought up like old ego, and old personas that I used to carry around those certain people, and it's I'm having like internal conflict with it. And so I'd like to talk about that and internal conflict in space. And, anything that I'm saying is you could, I don't have a degree in any of this to a sense, but my experience really gives me the degree, like the right to speak on this, And I think that it's very important that when you are in a like mindset of recovery, that there gets a point where everything seems to be going so smoothly and so good that you start stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I've talked about comfort zone and stepping outside your comfort zone. And what I've noticed is that since I've been doing this is that it's like I was on this not pink cloud, because I was going to say, I've been through the pink cloud before. But I have noticed that now me stepping outside my comfort zone also means that as, an empath, because that's what I am, I'm I'm being exposed to different energies and different frequencies more heavily. And it's affecting my mental. And so this is where space comes into it. And like, it's okay to take a step back and reflect. Uh, uh it's not backsliding. It's taking the time to do the introspection and say, okay, so this situation is causing these feelings to come up. These Some of the situations I'm going into are bringing up old feelings and traumas that I thought that I had not worked through, but that I had gained enough understanding that I was able to work, like be able to be back in that frequency environment. And I've learned that, you know, as time goes, like, because I've talked about polarization and like one thing in a space of time, something might look negative to you, but you just give it some time and it might turn into the opposite part of that scale and be something positive to you. Like a negative experience could turn into a positive experience in time, because time compensates. And so now that time has gone by, with certain situations, I'm able to look at it differently and see more areas that, like, okay, maybe this was more traumatic than I thought. Maybe there's more work to do here than I originally thought and or had planned to put so much energy into it. And so now that these new things are coming up, now it's, and this goes with recovery. This goes with, like bettering yourself. You're on this constant vigilance, like being vigilant on, like, okay, I could look at one situation, a month ago, and feel like, okay, I really delved deep into it. I really, um work through some of these things, and then a month goes by, some time goes by, and new things come out, and that's with being the light. That's, they talk about being the light, and the light, how it will shine into the darkest corners. And I'm starting to realize, like, and I guess I always knew this, and this goes with space, but the the continual search to become your best self, your best version of yourself, never stops. It's always going to be a build up. You know what I mean? You're always going to be building up. It's never going to stop. And I feel like if you have gotten to a place, especially in your recovery, where you feel like, okay, well, that's it. Be prepared that something is going to come up, and what, by preparing yourself and taking the space, it won't give you such of a setback. You know what I mean? Or it won't disturb your momentum as much. These are things that I have learned, and these are things that I'm still going through. I don't want to say struggle, because it's not a struggle now. It's more of a challenge. But these are still things that challenge me, that that I have to face daily. And a lot of times it's very unexpected. Like it unexpectedly comes up. And so I apologize. I'm still dealing with this sickness. So, I'm doing things to give myself space, even with that, to where I can, make sure that my body is working correctly, in turn for my mind to be clear. And sometimes I'm having hard times articulating what I want to say, because I feel like I'm not all the way there with that mental clarity, but I'm getting there. But meditation and taking space and really just being able to be comfortable with yourself and be in the presence of yourself is, I think, one of the, if not the most important um, tools you can utilize, or practices you can do to help your recovery. So, that's been on my mind, because I haven't. It's easy, like, when you start feeling good, you want to go out. You want to people. You want people to see and feel how you're feeling, because it feels good. So you want to share it, and that's good. That's, and for addicts, that's something that is not something that we've been able to practice for a long time while we were in the throes of addiction. And I encourage you to do that, but I also encourage you to um, be very mindful of the energy that you're picking up, because when I say I'm an empath, the fact of the matter is that we're all empaths. We all have the ability to perceive other people's energies. Without, I can walk into a room, and especially if I'm in tune with somebody, and them not have to say anything, and I can tell whether they're going through something. I don't know what it is exactly as far as the content to that energy, but I could feel if they're off, and everybody can. If they really start to practice these things. And this goes with taking space for yourself, is when you take space for yourself and you're able to become present with yourself, you're able to start feeling your own energies. And when you really start to pay attention to like the way that you feel, your moods and your emotions, in turn, what that does is, as within, as without, you're able to also there's more attributes to being more to just being self-aware. There's more attributes that come with that, and that's being aware of other people. And so, I encourage, as far as recovery goes in this new year coming up, is when you're out and about or you're out with people, and it was the holidays, so a lot of us, I can't say a lot because I can't speak for everybody, but as far as for me, I went back to family, and most of them don't use anymore, but some of them still use, and a lot of almost all of them I used with in the past, and they have a bunch of unhealed things that they've never worked through. They just kind of grind it through, and so it brought on this whole new aspect of like, okay, like you get on this high of feeling like, man, I can unstoppable, and I stopped taking space to myself, and I started jumping into other people's space, and that was going home and all this stuff. And it's really been an assault on my mental and my energy. And so, I woke up this morning thinking about, like making sure to take time to reflect and take space and meditate. And also, again, and I will always preach this, to be grateful, because I'm being challenged right now on a low week, and one of the tools I've learned to be able to combat the ups and the downs is to be grateful, to constantly try to change my vibration to a grateful vibration, so that way that the universe can feel that I'm being grateful, even at times when I don't feel my best, and in turn will provide for me even much more than I could even imagine, and which has never let me down. This is something that's it's never let me down. It doesn't matter what mind state I'm in. If I show gratitude and really just stop and think like, okay, well, this might not be going the way I want it to, or things aren't working as well as I'd like them to, but really stop and be like, how about this? Let's not worry about that. Let's focus on like, okay, this is what is going good. This is what I do have. And this is a new practice I've been doing, over the last couple of years. It's really shown up for me. It shows up for me everywhere. And so, I just wanted to say, taking space and being grateful for what you do have, and being grateful that you can even take space. Some people can't even really, you can always find some space, but some people are in such like congested environments that it's even hard to just stop and take some space away. You have to find it. You can find it within your music space. You can find it within just even a little short walk, or going to the store, or even in the bathroom. Just something, somewhere to be able to not have to visualize things going on around you, and be able to close your eyes while you're awake, and just be grateful and take that space. And you don't have to meditate on anything in particular, especially if you're in like volatile situations, you're going through it. And this works for even in the middle of addiction. Like I was doing this in the middle of this is where I started learning this, to just really go somewhere for even 5 minutes and just breathe, and take the time to breathe, and just be like, okay, and not think about nothing, not think about the grind, the hustle, the women, whatever, the drugs, whatever, money. And I believe that that's what ended up being one of the reasons that I was able to, when I was finally able to step into my new clothes, that's what I call it, because the recovery, like personally to me, and people tell me all this time, like being sober looks good on me. Like those are the clothes I should be wearing. And so, and I believe that that's what it talks about in the Bible when it says, when you because it's always talking about wisdom and knowledge, and it talks about you will be, clothed in a new garment. I believe that is also, there's a lot of parables in there. And I believe that that's what it's talking about when, because Jesus talks a lot about clearing your mind, having a new mindset. And once you do that, you are clothed in this new garment, right? Not literal, but even literal if you really want to think about it, because, when you're doing straight, you end up having more money, you end up being able to buy nicer things and spend money on things that make you feel good that aren't just going into your body. So, but happy New Year's. Take some time, take some space during these holidays to catch your breath if you have to. I encourage it. Love, peace, prosperity, ashe.